and let's get it popping, man.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. We are back again, day number 19 of the Mindset Makeover Challenge. This is a Wealthy, Healthy, Happy show. I'm your host, ERGJ, your success coach and certified financial educator. We got Mr. Beedles in the building.
What's going on, everybody? This is Mr. Beedles, Mr. Wealthy, Healthy, Happy, Mr. Your neighborhood financial planner and small business developer, man. And we are excited to be back on day 19. Is it day 19, man?
Man, it is day 19. We've been rocking and rolling. We're just kind of going right through this thing. 11 days left for this Mindset Makeover Challenge. Again, that challenge is it spawned from the Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale for us to really highlight one clearly defined goal and to stay focused on that goal for 30 days straight. And so I am super excited as we are in day 19. So we're more than halfway through this thing. Daily getting up, daily deciding to hold one another accountable, to motivate and inspire one another, and to at least get our day started on the right track. So hopefully we can finish our day on the right track.
Yeah, man. I want to say that all right, so we're in day 19. And again, we're halfway through the 30-day challenge, obviously. This show has been one of the biggest turning points in my year, and I started off this year doing something much different than I've done before, and I committed to really just going above and beyond in just sharing my stuff, sharing what was on the inside of me, and then sharing it with my world, because I felt like it made a difference in somehow, some shape, some form. And I timelined my service or my change using Facebook. So if you go to Mr. Beedles and you look at 2014, and then you go to Mr. Beedles and you look at 2015, the action that I've taken in 2014 is completely different than the action that I took in 2015. And the reason why is because I have a network like this one where I can plug into every single day and be of service. And so this 30-day challenge, man, has really woken up a giant on the inside of me, and it's causing me to search deeper and reach higher. So.
Hey, that is you know what, I was actually just thinking about that. I think it was 2 days ago or yesterday maybe. Because as we start to move it, we're now at the end of 2015, last month of the year. And typically we start to roll into the new year, and it's a for me, and maybe for most people, it's a time of reflecting, right? It's a time to say, okay, with what I have done or what has transpired over this year, what do I want to be different next year? And when I say different, what do I want to do better? What do I want to see progress? What do I want to see change? Or what do I want to see develop? And one of the first places you have to start is, what has transpired this year? In other words, what seeds have I sown? What successes have I seen? What challenges have I overcome this year? Because as we know, the process is to plant or to sow, and then you reap. So we have to ask ourselves, right, well, what have I sown this year? The same way that we would have asked ourselves at the beginning of this year, what did I sow last year? Because we know what we sow, we reap. So we can start to expect some type of harvest based off the seeds that we've sown, whether that be good seeds or whether that be bad seeds, whether that be productive seeds or unproductive
seeds. Right.
We have to ask ourselves, what seeds have I sown? And so, man, same thing with you, as I look back over this year and I look at these processes, this progress that I've made, these seeds that I've sown in all these different areas, it gets me excited, because I'm like expecting such a huge harvest, because I know the work that I put in. I know the type of seeds that I've intentionally sown into my life, into my career, into my business, into my world. And so if the law is true, and I believe the law to be true, then I can expect to reap that much more because of the work that I've done thus far up until this point.
I like it. I like it. And look, we got so that's a great it's a great segue. Welcome to the show, Giovanni. What's happening, man? Today we're talking about keeping the romance alive. And you can equate this to a few different things. And what I want to do today is I want to equate romance and building your business. So it's a great segue, right? So when you look back over your timeline, you look back over your life, and you look at where you are today and the seeds that you've sown. What's interesting is that there probably has been a little bit of a romance, and sometimes even a love-hate type of relationship with your business, your product, your service, or even your target market, because of the response that you get. But today, I want to specifically talk about romance and how to apply the principles of romance to life, to business. So I read a few articles, and romance for most professionals out there in the psychology world, they say that romance is all about self, and it's about being self-gratified. It's about the fantasy of what is absolutely possible in an ideal world, in this vacuum where nothing goes wrong. That's romance. That's the idea behind romance. And I started thinking on that a little bit, and I was like, I think that's the picture that we've been fed. You know, this romantic world, this romantic fantasy where Cinderella, she gets the prince at the end of the day, or you have Prince Charming that always finds the right girl, and not to say that those things can't happen, that they don't happen, but what we have to understand is that we got to start looking at romance like we are creating the scenario. We have to look at romance like you are serving your client and your customer base. So you kind of have to flip this thing. And romance is not something that happens to you, but romance is something that you get. Right? So totally different perspective. Romance is something that you give. And the reason why you give romance is so that your client is served. You have your client's best purpose or best intentions in mind. But in order to do that, you have to give on purpose. You have to love on purpose. You have to keep it fresh on purpose. That's what romance is about. It's about remembering every day that I have this business. Welcome to the show, Ryan Roy. I have this business. We're talking about romance. And we have to approach it from the standpoint that I have a business, and every single day I have to fall back in love with my business, because every day is not going to be a great day. Every day is not going to be a conversion. Every prospect isn't going to be a great prospect, and every business pitch that you pitch may not come out the way that you want, and you might not get the return that you expect. However, if you stay in love with your business, if you stay if you give the romance is the small things that you do every day. The romance is the reading of the books. The romance is the going to the events. That's the dating part, right? The romance is buying a few nice nothings for your business to improve the status, to improve where you guys are and where you are and where you are with your business. So again, the romantic part of it. So you can take what you would normally do in a relationship and you can apply that to your business, because it's important. It's important. It is developing a relationship. And we have to understand that we're developing a relationship with our business and also with our market. And we have to work to find ways to keep it fresh every single day, because sometimes the mundane gets real boring, but you got to master the mundane.
Mr. Ryan.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, man. Thanks for joining.
No problem. I missed that. I didn't hear you, Beedles.
I said justify it. Just do it. What's happening?
Yeah, I had to change that, man. It's better to be known by my name, right?
Hey.
And you like that little action man there for you?
Hey,
That's
man,
for
I
you.
see that. I see that. I'm excited about that, man. In the quotations. Yes, sir. That's what's up, man. What's up? Good morning this morning, man.
Good morning. Miss you guys, man. I caught a few, but you guys are up early.
A bit.
Hey, Mr. Beedles, so as you were talking there, as you're talking about the romance and building your business or your dream or taking that fantasy and making it a reality, I kind of think about I kind of always look at things from a two-way perspective. I think about those that add fuel to that fire. That continue to add wood, put wood into that fireplace to keep the fire going. But then I also think about those who just let it fizzle out, who start with this grand idea, this dream, this thing that they want to go after. They got so much zest for it, enthusiasm at the beginning, but they're not committed to that passion that they once had, and maybe they forget, the love that they had. Maybe they didn't feed their fire. And so now, 8 weeks later, 3 months later, 3 years later, their focus has changed to a new love.
The fire, because the fire is out. Right.
And it's hard. I guess they call it like rekindled dreams, right? Rekindled dreams. And I think that dream, that big, that definite major purpose, that big dream, it still is there, but it's fizzled out. It's now charcoal instead of something that once had a lot of fizzle behind it. So if we have some people that have some dormant dreams, have some dormant goals, have some things that are in hibernation, what are some things that they can do to rekindle the love that they once had?
Right, I'm gonna pass that one down to Ryan, see if he got a few things. That looked like he was writing a few notes.
I was. It wasn't in regards to that question, but and I just jumped in, and I was kind of. I'll go with what I was writing, and just kind of give a little bit different perspective, because as you're saying it, we're doing an analogy in regards to like romance and what we have to do in a relationship towards our business, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And what do most relationships or marriages end up in these days?
Divorce.
That's right. No different than many businesses, right? Which end up in failure or closure.
Yeah.
Right? Because people aren't realizing how much commitment you need to make when you go into these relationships or businesses.
That's right.
And in today's society, like I wrote down 3-month rule. I kind of have this dating thing. Like if you get past 3 months, you're in it for a little while, right? You could go at least a year, right? Because the real person starts coming out after 3 months of being in a business. The real entrepreneur, the real business owner shows up, and that really you find out how much you know or do not know in business. And whether or not you want to push through to learn those things. Same thing in that relationship. Once you start finding out what that person's really about, or what you're really about within the relationship, maybe the other person wants commitment and you do not. And at 3 months, you realize that, whoa, I'm not ready for this. And the same thing happens in business. But here's the thing. If you go into another relationship, because we call it the 3-month rule. When I said the 3-month rule, you kind of like laughed, right? Because no matter what relationship you go into, the 3-month rule applies. It's whether or not you've changed. And if you keep going to these 3-month relationships, that means you don't know anything enough about relationships to get past the 3 months. So you need to invest in yourself and in the relationship or in the business longer than 3 months, so that you can grow in business, so that you can grow in relationships. And too often people are saying, oh, the relationship's not for me. It's not the relationships that's not for you. You're not ready for the relationship. In business, if you can't get past 3 months or whatever that process is, whether you do MLMs, you get into a small business, whatever you may be doing, when you tap your foot in the ocean, You're just not ready for business. It's not that the business isn't ready for you. A lot of people, in every single business in this planet that we've seen, people are making money. That's why we get into them. But can you make money when you get into that business is the question. So
that's good stuff.
I think what people need to start thinking about is, am I ready to do this, and what does it really entail? And knowing that you're going to hit hurdles, Not everybody goes, oh, that business is easy, I'm going to make money in that. Well, it's easy for those who understand it.
Yeah.
So you need to take the time to learn to understand it at a high level in order for you to succeed in it. And most people say it takes 10,000 hours, which is the equivalent of 5 years at 40 hours a week, to actually master something or become proficient. Not even master, just become proficient. So those are my thoughts.
I like them. I like them a lot. And you said a whole lot there, man. But you know, when we boil that thing down, it's are you going to stay committed? Again, it goes back to, are you going to do the small things every single day to remind yourself that there is a relationship that you are building? Knowing that if you take an acorn and you put the acorn in the ground, you don't get an oak tree tomorrow, right? If you throw seed in the ground, you have to understand that in order for me to get the harvest, there had to be some groundwork laid before I started. And then I have to have a relationship with my field, the field that I just sowed my seed in. I have to continue to go back to my field. I have to pull the weeds. I have to water the grass. I have to make sure that the fertilizer is down, make sure that the lye is down. I have to make sure that there are no buzzards and rodents out there getting my seed and messing up my harvest. But again, that means I have to have a relationship with my field. I have to tend to what I'm now responsible for. And again, it has to become a labor of love. And so that's why it's so important that we go back to our definite major purpose and decide, is this really my worthy ideal? Is this really what I'm in love with? Or is this just a good idea because somebody else told me it was a good idea? And that might be the thing. So again, you have to go back to, well, why am I in this relationship in the first place? And does this truly, truly fulfill me? Can I get up and do this regardless of whether I was getting $1 for it or not? Can I? Mm-hmm. And if the answer is yes, then you might be onto something. And then if that's the case, then you have to know that you got to keep the romance alive by doing something every single day to keep that love alive.
Man, that is I knew this was gonna get hot. So there's a lot of self-analysis that has to happen. And hopefully it happens before you get into that relationship. Hopefully it happens before you really get heavy into that business or that dream that you're creating, because the reality is many of us have a commitment issue. We have some commitment issues that we really have to deal with. Like, what keeps us from staying committed until the end? And whatever it is that we do, what keeps us? What are those things? And actually, I did this the other day. I started to write down what my biggest distractions were. What my biggest distractions are, so I could recognize those things that I fall back to when during those lull times, during those times where it's not quite the excitement, when it's not quite the activity that's going on. During my lull times, what are my distractions? Because it's in those times, those idleness times, those times of the devil's playground, that I could find myself reverting back to these distractions and letting them become long-term distractions instead of just short-term pit stops, so to speak. And those distractions in my life have been the things that have fed my non-committal ways versus feeding those things that says, hey, I'm going to stick through this, even through this season of winter, so to speak. So I think it's important that we recognize from a personal standpoint, what is it that would keep us from really committing to any one thing, whatever that is. Because it ultimately is the commitment to do the daily disciplines, to put the daily output, the daily energy, to continue to keep the dream alive, to keep the fire going, to put a little bit more wood in every day into that fireplace, which is our heart. So,
Yeah, no,
so it's important.
yeah,
It was important to me to really see, okay, well, what are these big distractions? Whether it be, social media, whether it be the television, whether it be, whatever it is that I don't know. I think everyone has some things that they might revert to their old self at times that that could really always be chasing in the pursuit of excitement instead of the pursuit of progress.
No, that's good, man. That's and you said something that was really big though. You said, man, in my pursuit of the new thing, which when you look at the definition of romance, one of the definitions in romance is the pursuit of or in chase of a thing. That's one of the definitions of it. So we are in pursuit of it daily. Now, the challenge is that you have to get away from the old habits. And so you are creating this new habit, you're romancing this new love. However, you also have this old man that you have to get away from, the old habits, your old lifestyle. Like, you got to think about this thing, man. You might be 30 years, 40 years, 50 years into your old habits, and you're trying to change those things. And that is a challenge, right? And so I'm sure Ryan Roy is going to tell you that, man, you got to look at where you're going and then take some small actionable steps every day to get yourself out of that.
And appreciate where you are, right? Be realistic with yourself where you are now to understand that there's going to have to be some shift in mindset and things like that. You can't change until you change, right? So you need to change your mindset in order to get to where you want to go. Going back to the whole business thing, people need to be realistic going into a business. Realistic based on what knowledge? How many relationships did you guys go through before you found the one, if you've even found the one? I know, Beedles, you have. I don't know you haven't. But how many relationships did I go through before I met my wife? A few.
A lot.
And the same thing happens in business. Is how many businesses do you need to go through before you realize the business that is for you? And how many mistakes do you need to make in each one of those businesses before you go? If you look back at very successful people,
that's good.
They didn't sit there and get into one business and all of a sudden hit it. There aren't too many Mark Zuckerbergs out there.
Right.
All the people I've studied have failed in business at least a dozen times, and many times over 20 times before they actually hit their success. And then people will call them a overnight success. Wow. He got into this, and look what he did. People don't know. Let's look at a guy like Sylvester Stallone. You guys know his story, yes or no?
Kind of. Rocky.
Okay, Rocky. So Rocky sat there and held on to that script and held out for what he wanted for like 4 years. He had to sell his best friend, which was his dog, at one point. The only one who would pay attention to him was his dog, so he could eat at some point. Because he held out and held out and held out. But everybody thinks that Rocky was an overnight success. No, he wrote the script in less than 24 hours. When he kept presenting it, people wanted to pay him. But he wanted to star in it and produce it. And nobody wanted to give him that deal. But he held out for like 4 years before he finally got that deal. And we're talking, he sold his dog when he had an opportunity to sell his script for $250,000 back in the 70s. Which is probably equivalent to like $5 million today with time, but he said, no, I want it this way. How much are you willing to sacrifice? How much are you willing to sacrifice to get what you want? And in that example, he sacrificed a lot. He sacrificed his best friend. He sacrificed $5 million in today's terms to get exactly what he wanted. But how has it paid off in the long term for him?
Hello. one of the most successful movie franchises ever.
And there's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of stories like that. But you got to go back and research them and figure out, wow, this is what it really takes. And the information's out there, but people just want to see where they are now. And this is going to be my Periscope after I get off with you guys. I've been doing a daily scope in regards to a quote and what it means to me. Too many people want to cut the ribbon, but they don't want to dig the ditch.
Oh man, look, this is, I just want to give y'all a number right quick, right? So he held out for, you said he held out for 4 years. 4 years. He had a script 4 years. That is 1,460 days he held out. Jeez Louise. You know what I mean? Like when you think of, when you really break that thing down, every day you get up and you say, today is going to be the day. Today is going to be the day. And when today is not the day, do you have the courage to wake up tomorrow and say today is going to be the day? Because you thought yesterday was going to be the day. But today doesn't happen. Do you wake up tomorrow with that same zeal, with that same hope, that same aspiration, with that same love, with that same romance, and say, although it didn't happen yesterday, but I know what I saw, I know what I know, and I know what I wrote down, and I'm going to keep pressing because it's going to happen. And 1,460 days later, it just might happen for you. So hold on to the romance, man. Don't forget. Don't forget what you saw. Don't forget where you're going.
Yeah, so we talked a little earlier just about making sure that we always come back to the why, right? Which is, why do we get started in the first place? Why do we take this road in the first place? Why am I doing what I'm doing in the first place? And I think we should ask that question every day on why. I think that can always help us to calibrate, our thoughts, calibrate our position, even give us some new ideas on how to be romantic with our dreams, our business, our desires. When you always come back to why, and it's big enough, you'll always find some more wood. You'll always find some more wood because here's the thing, guys. Whenever I ask myself why do I want to be why am I a certified financial educator? Why am I doing this? And it always is bigger than me because I want to make sure the next generation doesn't have to ask that same question. Why didn't I learn this when I was younger? But whenever I say that, I'm always thinking of myself in front of the kids and giving them the things that I wish I would have learned when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And that why is super huge to me of the next generation, not having to be without because no one decided to give them that position of power at a young age, as if and we know that they can consume it because they are sponges. But whenever I think of the why, I always also see myself in some position. And that continues to fuel me like, one day I'm going to be here. One day I'm going to be here. One day I'm going to be here. And that is huge to me. And so hopefully whenever you think of your why, whenever you come back to your why did you get started? Why are you doing what you're doing? It puts you in a position of not only just recognizing the answer to that, but also seeing yourself in the position that you will be in at some point once you manifest or you bring your fantasy into reality.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
I just one last point on there as you were speaking, Evan, is one day you're gonna be there. You already, if you start thinking I am already there in your mind, it's all about mindset, right? You're already there in your mind, and as long as you continue to have that mindset that I'm already there, I just got to take a few more steps. You're already there, but too many people will sit there and say, I want this, and they won't take any of the actions, and they don't have the mindset to do it. You're taking the actions, but also keep the mindset. Not like I'm going to get there. I am there. I am a success. I am a financial success. I do have these things. Why? Because you have the tools. You just need to take the steps.
Absolutely.
Putting fire in the wood. Wood in the fire.
Wood in the fire.
We'll do both.
Put wood in the
fire. Put fire in the wood. That means you're burning down the forest, man. That's a big fire.
Yeah, I think Earl Nightingale says, don't go to the stove and ask for heat. Go to the stove and bring the wood, and you'll get heat. So fantastic. Well, Mr. Action Man, Mr. Ryan Royce, we talk about the whys. We talk about remembering the romances. We talk about continuing to put wood into the fire, man. Any last thoughts, any last words for the people as they go out today?
Just okay, so take action, right? Because if you're taking action on your thoughts, It's always the action, man. It's always going to talk about take action. Because if you think you want to do something, once you start taking action towards it, you will realize really quickly what it entails, and you get to decide for yourself whether or not that's what you want for yourself. So just take action towards the things you think you want, and you'll find out whether or not you know you want them.
Fantastic. Mr. Beedles?
Hey, I like that one, man. Wow.
Bam.
No, that's, I mean, it's great. It goes back to the 90-day rule, you know, the 3-month rule. You have to, you want to change your life. Yes. Yes. All right. So now that you've decided that you want to change your life, you move towards those things. Now, the reason why that is so great is because it gives you an opportunity to intern with your idea, right? Before you make any real serious commitments, you want to intern with the idea of maybe changing my life in this direction. Maybe I want to become a vegan. All right, so you try it for 90 days and you understand that, you know what, I love bacon. And I don't want to make that kind of commitment. So I want to maybe not do bacon, but I want to do turkey bacon. Maybe it's Applewood organic bacon. But again, you have to give yourself the opportunity. So give yourself that opportunity, man. Have some courage and then just go out there. Go out there uninhibited and say, these are the things I want to do. Commit to them, take steps towards them, and then find out what you want to truly fall in love with and go from there.
Fantastic, man. Well, I knew that today was going to get hot. We started talking about putting fuel, adding wood to the fire, man, as we continue to talk about building and developing and creating the life that we want to live, man. It's a 30-day journey, a 30-day mindset makeover. We're making sure we have the right mindset, we're speaking the right words, and we're taking the right actions to manifest those things the life that we want to live, man, and that's very important. And so we hope that you guys will continue to connect with us here at the Wealthy, Healthy, Happy Network. Got a link here that I'll be putting down in the comments below for you to be able to connect. We got daily blogs, videos, things to help you get through your day. And we want you to connect with us. And then also there are some opportunities in the marketplace for you. One is going to be Future by Design. If you're a person that haven't really found out for yourself where you want to be in the next 5 years and you don't have a plan of action to get there, well, we want to help you. And so there's an opportunity for you to get a free consultation, first one free, just to see if we can help you. And then we'll actually start to work out a plan to help you design the next 5 years of your life. So that's going to be on that network as well. And a lot of other opportunities for you just to connect with the #1 marketplace for the successful person in the world. And so this is the Wealthy, Healthy, Happy Show, Mindset Makeover Challenge, day number 19. My name is ERGJ.
This is Mr. Beedles, Mr. Wealthy, Healthy, Happy, your financial planner and small business developer. And then we got our guest today, Mr. Ryan Roy, who just jumped out of the seat, the action man, Justified, Just Do It. Make sure that you check him out on Periscope because he's doing a phenomenal job, man. I think he is like over 100,000 hearts. That just means that there are a lot of people that are engaged in what he has to say, man. So we thank him for coming on today, sharing his words of wisdom, and we look forward to having everybody back here tomorrow for day 20. Day 20, where we talk about wisdom is better than gold.
Wisdom is better than gold, man. Well, we are healthy. We are healthy. We are wealthy, we are healthy, we are happy, and we're out. You guys have a wonderful day.
Have a good one.